And we're back with another Dynasty rookie profile. Today, we're looking at one of my favorite wide receiver prospects from the upcoming 2025 draft. That's wide receiver out of Texas, Matthew Golden. Before we get into the production and analytical profile, let's check out his game-winning catch against Arizona State in the college football playoffs. We see him there, arrow nicely pointing out him lined up on the hash mark there. You're going to see him run a deep route, obviously fake a corner route, keep it up the middle of the seam, and boom, he catches it. Game over. Winner. Moving on. Texas is beating Arizona State in overtime. And Matthew Golden is a fun player. Stick around if you want to see some more all-22 film on some plays where things that I love about Matthew Golden. But what makes him so interesting to me is that his film and his tape don't really line up with his analytical numbers, his analytical and production numbers. If you are a type of person who kind of only looks at production and analytics, but doesn't really watch the film, which is fine. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong. You're probably not going to be very high on Matthew Golden. But when you watch some of the film, especially the end of the year playing against, Georgia in the SEC championship game throughout the college football playoffs, Matthew Golden, if you only watch the film, you think this guy put up 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's how good he looked. So Matthew Golden, he's 6'1", 195. That's already going to be knock number one for a lot of people. When you look up Matthew Golden weaknesses, you type it into Google. One of the first things you see is like his physicality, his size. Can he play in man coverage against strong NFL corners? And I'm not super worried about his weight and his size. I think that if you try and discount a guy strictly for his size and weight, you're going to be wrong a lot when everything else is kind of there, right? When the film and the production for him looks like it's there, but you only say, he's small. Bucky Irving was one of those players. The analytics, the production, the film was all there for Bucky. It was just his size. I tend to not want to discount guys just based on size here. So what is something I like about Matthew Golden with the with the production profile here is his production by depth of the field, right? So we have deep and medium. He absolutely dominated. I mean, you can see the numbers there. He put up almost 800 of his almost 1,000 yards in the deep and medium part of the field. What is deep? Deep is 20 yards down the field. Medium is 10 to 20 yards down the field. And I like to see receivers, especially in college, dominate at those two levels of the field because that's what really translates to the NFL, in my opinion. Can you win deep and medium? Can you beat people and have your quarterback push the ball down the field? Can you win down the field? And Matthew Golden can. Of course, we love short area catches because he gives you easy points, especially in like PPR and stuff like that. But and those will come. But I really like to see that production from the deep and medium. Another thing I really like about Golden is, and you don't really see it reflected here in the numbers, but there was improvement from his second year in college to his junior year in college, this last year at Texas. He played at Houston, and if you watched any of his Houston games, you could kind of see that this dude was the best player offensively on Houston. He just never got unlocked completely. And then he goes to Texas, and he takes a huge step up in the areas of concern for him as a prospect. One of the areas of concern for him was his contested catch percentage. You see here, his contested catch percentage is at 47.2%, which is over his entire career. However, if you average it out from his first 2 years at Houston, it was at like 34% contested catch percentage, which is way too low. We need to see this number closer to 45, 50%, like we saw for his career. This last year at Texas, it was at over 61% contested catch percentage. So we saw a huge increase there in a very important area that we need to see success in. That was great. Also, his drop percentage, that was another big red flag. He wasn't catching contested catches, and he was dropping the ball too much. His drop rate over his career is at 9.4%, as you can see here. But his drop rate over his first 2 years at Houston was closer to like 11 or 12%, which is way too high. You can't have that at double digits. You just can't. No, there's barely any receivers who've been successful in the NFL who have a drop rate in college of like over 10%. That's just way too much. So what was it this year at Texas? It was at 6.5%. So I love those two things. I love that we saw significant improvement in certain important areas for Golden. Now, what are some concerns with this profile? The overall production, I would say. We see the dominator here. And what is dominator? Dominator is for a receiver is the percentage of your team's passing or receiving offense that you are responsible for. So in his career, his 2 years at Houston, 1 year at Texas, he had a 21% career dominator. So just over the threshold, we're looking for at least 20%. Most players who are successful in the NFL have a career of at least 20%. There's very few that have under 20% dominator in their college careers that were successful in the NFL. Terry McLaurin and Jalen Waddle are two that come to mind, but they're like the exceptions to the rule, really. I think Amon-Ra might have, maybe not Amon-Ra, but his single season high was at 24%, which is actually in 2023. But his career is at 21%. So it's high enough, but it's just over the threshold. And generally, we like to see above 25, 30% for these elite guys. And just quite wasn't there. It wasn't quite there for Matthew Golden, the production, which can be concerning because, again, production is the most important thing, right? Like, you got to produce in college. Like, that's like, there's no one thing you can look at and say whether a guy's going to be good or bad. Probably the most common thing to look at is just production. Did you produce in college? You know, all players who have been good in the NFL, like we just said, have produced in college. So it is a little bit concerning that his production profile isn't a little bit higher. But other than that, man, and we're going to get into some of the film here. Other than that, like the things that I see from Matthew Golden are very, very intriguing, and he's moving up the board as you know, he's in that next tier of guys, maybe behind Luther Burden and Ted McMillan, you know, with Emeka Egbuka and maybe Matthew Golden in there. So let's hop into some film, look at some all 22 film on some things that I like about Matthew Golden. So the first play we're going to see here is the first play of the game against Arizona State. We see him lined up out wide here. Just shows you his ability after the catch a little bit. That I really, really like. There seems to be a miscommunication on this coverage here, so he kind of finds his way open, but it's after the catch here. He makes the catch. This player comes over, and he just absolutely jukes this guy out of his shoes. Boom. Right, and he gets, you know, from that point on, he gets what, 10, 20, 30, 35, over 35 more yards just because of that one move. So I love his movement in space to kind of give him some nice yak ability there. Just stuff that you really like to see from NFL prospects is just that. What do they do with the ball in their hands and stuff like that? Because I think he's a really good route runner, but I also think he's really, really good after the catch. You can see it again here, just kind of jukes that guy. And we see some of the 4.3 speed I think he's potentially going to run at the combine in just a couple of. Next play here, we have him at the bottom of the screen. This is just, it just shows his ability to go up and make these spectacular catches. He seemed to be doing it all college football, you know, runs a 9 route, all college football playoffs. He's making these kind of catches on the sideline there. You'll see a little bit of a better view from the end zone camera here. We'll speed it up just a bit, drops back, throws it up to him, and it's just a nice NFL level catch there. Can't really see if he gets that second foot down. He obviously gets one, which is all you need in college. I think he does get that second foot down there, maybe his elbow down, and just makes a really, really nice catch. And the guy was just making these all plays. So that's where he, to me, improved a lot from Houston to Texas, 2023 to 2024, was just making these kind of impressive catches. You knew it was always there, but he just started to make them more consistently, in my opinion, here this past college football season. We got another play here. He's lined up in the slot. He goes out in motion, which they used him a lot, which is great. You know, you want to see them, you know, be able to move him around and from the slot in motion and all that. And just a really nice route run. What looks like against man coverage here. Just a start and stop route, kind of a hitch route there. You see how he creates just enough space there. Ball's already coming out. Creates just enough space there to make the catch pretty easily, and then kind of jukes the defender a little bit. Gets tackled right after, but still makes that first defender miss. So just a really, really nice play, in my opinion. We'll watch it here from the end zone view. Just a nice hitch route. It's just kind of that violent start and stop ability that he has, which, again, is something that I look for in wide receiver prospects, especially these smaller guys. They're going to have to, if you can't out physical someone, then you got to get open with your route running and your stop ability. And here we go in the SEC championship game against Georgia. He's at the top of your screen here. Again, what I really like about this is just as soon as he catches it, he's moving forward. Like the stop ability of Matthew Golden is just awesome. This isn't a particular impressive route running or whatever. This is going to be like a cover 3, and the curl flat player should be a little bit more deep, kind of leveraging with the safety here over the top. And he doesn't. He kind of pays attention to more of the slot receiver here. So that makes kind of a really easy catch. He's wide open here. As you can see, it's a cover 3. This player needs to be pushing more over to kind of leverage the receiver there. But just look at how he catches it, and he's going, right? Like he's just catching it, and boom, he's going. He's running a hitch route, a 6 route, and then as soon as he catches it, he's moving forward at just like an incredible start-stop ability, really good speed, obviously. Like we see him and he's going, and it kind of leaves that number 7 there a little bit in his tracks. Now he recovers and makes the tackle, but he gets a little bit more yards out of it there. So just really, really impressive route running, and that again, that start-stop ability from Matthew Golden. And one last thing I'll say about Golden as we finished up with the all-22 film here is I think it's very telling, especially in the world of college football now where there's NIL money and these guys are getting paid. And I don't know how much Golden's getting paid, or I'm sure he's getting a pretty good amount for a college, what is he, 21-year-old or whatever it is, or he would have gotten paid. He came out a lot earlier than I think people expected. I don't think a lot of people expected him to come out in this draft class. And to me, especially with NIL, that's kind of telling. And that's his people telling him, hey, you're probably going to be a pretty high pick in this draft class. It's a weaker wide receiver draft class, so you may be the wide receiver 3 or 4 in this draft class, and you may be a first-round pick because of it. So I think he's going to get good draft capital on draft day. I've already seen him kind of being taken in the late first to teams like, the Commanders or the Lions. And so he's just a prospect that I really, really like. To me, he's a fringe first-round pick in Dynasty rookie drafts, kind of dependent on where he goes, but just a player that I'm excited about and excited to scout more. So if you guys like the content, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We will have more of these throughout the draft the draft season. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you all in the next video.